Hey folks, Pirate Tiger here. Welcome back to Let's Play 80 Days. Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. We are currently enjoying the hustle and bustle of the 1872 Paris World's Fair. We've met an artificer and a gyrocopter pilot, who both seemed pretty cool characters. There's clearly something political going on between the artificers and imperial royalty, I suppose. But I promised last episode that before going on, I would explain why we're playing 80 Days. And the reason is I'm travelling! Yay, not for long. I have had presented to me a rare and unique and wonderful opportunity to go to Rome, just for 3 nights, because my local pub cricket team is playing against the Vatican, as you do. So I don't play cricket. I've gone along as a groupie, basically. I'm a wag, wives and girlfriends. But, I mean, come on. Rome, cricket against the Vatican, how can you not? Wonderful opportunity. So that's what I'm doing this week. Started, probably set off yesterday morning, in fact. That would have been the Monday. I'll be back later in the week. But I was racking my brains looking for a game to play that I wanted to play around Rome and travel and all the rest. And then this came out. This has only come out a few days ago. And I'm a massive steampunk fan, and I love the whole genre, and this just tickled, this pushed all my buttons, and that's why we're playing it. And let me tell you, if I were Passepartout and I were back in my home city of Paris and the World's Fair was on just as I was there on my my sudden and unexpected travels around the world, I would absolutely be stopping in and checking out the sites, and that is what we're going to do. In fact, we have a few, but I want to find out more about the Artificers Guild. Let's see what's going on in there, in the red and purple tents. Draped with banners emblazoned with their copper lily sigil. A steam-powered automaton orchestra playing gleaming brass instruments. Or the most incredible display of machines. How interesting. This doesn't excite me at all. Steam-powered automaton orchestra playing gleaming brass instruments. Like, you'd expect that, by the artificers in a steampunk era. That's pretty prosaic and pedestrian, in my opinion. So let's check out the other machines. As though a scrapyard had been brought to playful life, one of the artificers was explaining the guild's credo to a group of sticky-fingered children, that's probably about my level, or had his hands deep inside a human-shaped automaton. Goodness, that sounds intimidating. I don't know anything about the guild. I feel like I should do, this is probably, the human-shaped automaton is probably of vital importance to the plot, but I don't have a clue what's going on with the Artificers Guild, so let's find out. The copper lily stamp of the guild is an assurance of safety and quality, the artificer said, before pausing to gently discourage a curious toddler's ambitions of flight. We build and maintain everything from children's toys, she gestured to a nearby clockwork monkey, which was enthusiastically banging a pair of cymbals, to airship engines, and even mechanical workers. You notice my voice went up a little as I realised she was female. There we go. Now, a mechanical valet could never replace a human one. I leaned closer and remained silent, or I slipped away, bemused by all this talk of machines. Well, this is like, get out, stop talking. And the clock is not running at the moment, so we can take all the time we want in this conversation. I'm not going to take the last one, because that's basically, see ya, go and do something else. One of these two. This is a bit... I will be disproved, I feel quite sure. We're in the steampunk era. We're set to be amazed by technology, so it's probably going to be this one. It is valet, by the way. I know that a lot of people are going to be watching this going, stop saying valet, it's valet. No. A valet is someone who takes your ticket and parks your car. A valet is a bit like a butler, but for a person rather than a house. Don't ask me why it's that way, it just is. It's not important, alright? Just, if it bothers you, just let it go. And I will do the same, I promise. I leaned closer and remained silent, eager to hear more of this wondrous mechanized future. It's the present, baby. You're in the wondrous mechanized present. An automaton worker will never tire or feel hunger or thirst. It can function happily under the hot glare of the sun, and will not get phossy jaw or cotton lung if it works in a factory. But can it feel loyalty or satisfaction? Surely an automaton is as expensive to fuel as a human is to feed. That's a good point. I would go... I mean, do we want to sort of, create strife in front of these children? Yeah, well, they've got to learn sometime. This is politics, baby. But this is more my... I think as Passepartout, as a sort of a simple... I'm a simple man, and loyal and feisty, and this is probably more like me. And stick to character. But can you feel loyalty or satisfaction in a good day's work? I asked. The artificer released the child squirming in her arms and gave me a lopsided grin. Perhaps one day we will build our automata to feel those emotions. There are many in the guild interested in such things. She raised her voice a little to address the small crowd that had gathered to eavesdrop on our exchange. The Artificers Guild operates across the borders of nation, caste, and creed. In which countries? I called. All of them, she replied, pleased at the question. We have outposts in Bombay, Siberia, Bucharest, in every corner of the earth. She turned back to the children. When we become artificers, we give up our personal loyalties and swear to use our skills only for peaceful aims, the artificer continued. The cleverest engineers and inventors are all working together to shape a better future for all the world. I clapped along with the rest of the crowd, or remained... Yeah, it's gonna be turned into weapons. You know it. You know it. I remained somewhat skeptical. I've read the Thingy Gun Club, not Boston, what is it? Baltimore, the Baltimore Gun Club. It's another Jules Verne's. I remained somewhat sceptical of the rosy picture she painted. No organisation was so perfect and noble. The artificer caught my sleeve as the crowd dispersed. How was my speech? I rehearsed it all night. Was it too much? Was any of it true? It was very sterling. Perhaps a bit much. Was any of it true? Let's be suave. It was very sterling, I assured her, and she gave me a bright, grateful grin as I returned to the central square, stopping here and there to gaze at my wonders at the exposition. My feet were tiring, and the hour was growing late. It's time to move on, I feel. It's 6:58. We've not yet decided where we're going, have we? I returned to Mr Fogg, who was eating a meal of plain boiled beef à l'anglaise. Did you enjoy the exposition? My master inquired diffidently, as though I had been out visiting an aged great-aunt, or having preferred a hearty meal and an English newspaper. Let's not be, churlish. And I nodded. Nothing else could possibly impress me now. We are unspeakably lucky to live in such an age of invention. Will we travel by airship, do you suppose? Do you think we will encounter artificers? There were one or two rather lovely artificers I would dearly love to speak to again. Assuredly. I intend for us to use the most efficient transport available. I dreamed that night of mechanical wonders and automatons. Automata, come on now, pluralise correctly. With beautifully enamelled faces. I'm sorry, I'm being such a prescriptive grammarian here, aren't I? I apologise. Knowing little of the strange inventions and stranger peoples I would soon encounter in my journey around the world. Doesn't that feel like the end of a an introduction, a prologue? It does to me. That's really lovely. Very well done. I told you, the script in this game is amazing, and it branches all over the place. You can go to any city, hundreds of cities throughout the world, and they all have their own stories and their own characters, and everything ties together, and it's ingenious. I think that the script, Meg Jayanth, I think was her name, smashing job, and it hews so well to the character of the book, I think. Let us move on. It's 7 p.m. And, yes, the automaton that drives between Izmir and Istanbul. We learned about that. The clock is ticking, Passepartout. We must decide our next steps quickly. Yes, we shall. Now. Oh, there's Rome. I could go via Rome. That's where I am right now as you're watching this, probably. But, in the interest of expediency, well, maybe. Let me check our bags. We've got all night to plan this, so I'm not worried. Who's that travelling there? You scoundrel. We have geometry equipment, valuable in Copenhagen, which is way up here, Warsaw, which is over here, and Budapest down there. So that's via Vienna. And also, this is worth a lot in Berlin. Oh, man. It's worth a lot in Berlin. if we go via Berlin and Warsaw, I think we're going to end up taking the Trans-Siberian... Trans-Siberian Railway. So... Oh, the music has died. Oh, and it's back. So, Berlin and Warsaw and Budapest. Okay. In fact, we could go to Amsterdam. Let's see. Which is more expensive. Amsterdam is 75, arrives tomorrow. Munich arrives Friday. Yeah, Amsterdam, Berlin, Warsaw. That's what we're doing. Okay. So, we go back to Paris. And we will stay in the hotel over... can we not just, go? Private car. Oh, only one suitcase. Only one suitcase for that one. You see, it says one suitcase and -5 health or constitution. This is, it's not our constitution. This is Monsieur Phileas Fogg's constitution, which we have to care for. Munich that's also one bag. Oh, but we can change the date of departure. So that could be worth it. Or if we go via Nice, 5 bags. But it arrives in 3 days. We could discuss the departure date for that as well. Screw it. Let's go via Rome. Let's go via Rome. It means that half the things we bought are worthless, but whatever. Yeah. The Englishman's wardrobe should yield results. Yes, because we've got a complete wardrobe. What happens there? Ooh, we can go tomorrow for no charge. I like that. I like that a lot. Let's do it. We're off to Nice. Departs at 10 AM. That's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So let us go back to Paris, sleep the night. Hotel. La la la. 10 AM. We book a hotel for the night. We'll be comfortable here, Mr Fogg remarked, but travelling overnight will often be more efficient. So we must board the longest journeys available, or where possible. I don't know. Where possible? We cannot travel where it is not possible, certainly, he replied. Still, the surrounds of the Hotel Ritz, no less, were most enjoyable. Okay, click the clock to skip an hour if you're waiting for the market or bank to open. I wonder if it'd be worth checking the market again, which doesn't seem to be open. Right, we've got 10 AM departure for Nice. So if we go back to Paris and skip an hour, and maybe another? No, market's not open. Right, fine, we'll go to Nice. Let's embark. Let us go! This will be a bearable journey. I should hope so too. The Pyrenees Express. I'm well off the map now, guys. I have not been along this route, and I haven't gone much further than this anyway, so I'm flying blind. We boarded our train at Gare de Lyon, which had opened only the previous week. Oh, how convenient. The ticket booths were all staffed by automata, or compared to leaving London, it was a calm affair. It's much of a muchness, really, isn't it? And cylinder phonographs installed throughout the station played La Marseillaise in triumph. God, that'd be unbearable. Anyway, we found a compartment and settled into plush seats, with a complimentary glass of Provençal rosé to grace the trip. We French, we know how to travel. Or I raised my glass to Mr Fogg. I think that's a good one. Yes. He tipped his own glass towards me, courteously, but left the wine within untasted until dinner was served, because one does not drink before the meal. Apparently. Let us converse. Converse. Greetings, monsieur. Good afternoon. My name is Alfred Dumont. Why do you think I have this outrageous French accent? What about Nice? What can you tell me? Because I don't know where I'm going. Nice used to be quite run down, you know. I'm going to Rome. I don't care about anything else. I'm going to Rome. Is it possible to travel from Nice to Rome? I believe so. Nice is linked to Rome aboard the Blue Line ferry, but it's slow going. Ah, damn it. Tough. I've got to go to Rome. I've got to. Tell me more about Rome. Did you realize that you can pick up tartan blankets in Rome? You can sell for profit in Budapest. Really? Rome produces tartan? I had no idea. Goodbye. So, we can get to Rome, and then Budapest is way up there. We've got something we can sell in Budapest, though, that's worth a pretty penny, if I recall, so that might be worthwhile. The hours flew by, and I spent them playing competitive charades, talking to other passengers, or watching the scenery go by. Let us be loquacious. Trying to gather information for our next leg, I met a somewhat frenetic Viennese ragamuffin, and had a pleasant if unproductive conversation, or whom I quickly abandoned as knowing nothing. Let's not be mean. That whiled the hours away. The train rattled on, arriving to Nice late in the evening. We stepped out to balmy autumn weather and a gentle murmur in the air. Ah, my friends, the sea. I like that we've arrived in the evening, because that means we've got plenty of time to plan our journey and on from here, and then we can, if time permits, we can hop to the market in the morning before we set off. So, we arrive in Nice, which is nice. Some of our possessions could earn us well here. Oh, really? What do we have? What do we have? Not that. Not that. Is it geometry equipment? I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking absolute poppycock. That's only worth 82. Although I may as well sell it. I'm not going all the way up to Berlin now. Come down here. We're keeping the wool trousers, the wool shirts, and the evening jacket, because that's part of our Englishman's wardrobe set. A complete set. That's definitely worth keeping. Got the Gentleman Traveller set there, which we only have half of. But these are all great for keeping the loss of health down when we make long journeys. So that's handy. Yeah. Close the luggage. Let's stay the night, I suppose. Or we could plan. Rome arrives Saturday. So it's a fairly slow one, but it's not terrible. Can we negotiate it? No. It leaves tomorrow at 4 p.m. It would appear we cannot go this way today. Well, that's fine. We're you know, not a problem. We're going to sleep the night. We'll pass the night here. Yes, let us do that. The long pebbled beaches of Nice were filled with Italians of one sort or another. A few protesting the loss of the city to France. And a few selling sweet pastries. Yes, let's take that. Which tasted of almond and butter. I munched contentedly and took to the sea, or while I strolled along the promenade, or I retired early. I'm not going to retire early. Oh, right, so this is the night. Okay, yes. Let us stroll along the promenade, watching the ships come and go from the harbour. Since being ceded back to the bosom Francais, Nice had become a bustling hub of activity. Boats plied the waters daily, and there was talk of building a tram to link the hotels to the beaches and the casinos. Good idea. Like it, like it. I returned to the beach to dip in the ocean, or I found a sailor to talk to, or I made my way to one of those casinos myself. I am not going gambling. Come on, Passepartout. And asked for advice about how we should proceed. He shrugged. There's cars to Venice and the boat to Rome. Depends where you want to go, of course. I agreed. That was a salient point, yes. Which would you recommend? We're going around the world! We're going around the world! I declared. He shrugged. Well then, you'd better go to Rome. There's airships there. Oh, airships from Rome! Yes, that's what I want. That is exactly what I want. That's what we're doing. Yeah, yeah. I thanked him and moved along. Turned to the beach, dip in the ocean. Fine, let's take a dip in the ocean. Thinking this might perhaps be my last chance to swim by choice, rather than, say, by the unfortunate sinking of some cockleshell craft in the Azores, or wherever we might end up. I feel you, Passepartout. Passepartout, by the way, really interesting name, because I think it literally means... the best translation is probably like multipass from Fifth Element. It sounds like passport, which is interesting in the context of the narrative, the story, but it literally means something more like a cross between a factotum, it sort of does everything, busybody, and like a multi-pass key, which very, very interesting. But the other thing that it means in French, passepartout, is the name for the what do you call it? The mount that you get in picture framing. So you've got the frame of a picture, then you've got the picture at the back, and then you've got the glass at the front, and then between the two is a sort of inner frame of usually cardboard or whatever. And we call that a mount. But in French, it's a passepartout, which I think is fascinating because we are telling the story of Phileas Fogg and his journey around the world. But we are the frame through which the story is told. We sort of, we are involved in the story, of course, but we are the observer. We're the window through which we see Phileas Fogg. I just think that's, we sort of, we're the frame rather than the picture. And I think that's a fantastic name for a character in this context. So I would shake you by the hand, Jules Verne, but it will fall off because you're dead. Anyway, the water was warm and welcoming, and I had a very enjoyable time until I returned to the shore to find my wallet no longer inside my shoes. Passepartout, you complete tool. Never mind. I blame the nearby Italians, of course. No, I rolled my eyes thinking my master's frustration. Yes, or I eyed the beach for likely suspects. Ugh, you're not going to get any... Yeah. It was not all our money, of course, but quite a sum nonetheless. How much did we lose? How much did we lose? Well, we've still got we've got more than we started with. I'm not that worried. I'm not going to a casino. I don't have any money. My feet were tired. I murmured my goodbyes to the sea, and I knew to France, and returned to my master. Your funds have gone down somewhat. Yeah. Your relationship with Fogg has strengthened slightly. Oh, wonderful. I wonder why that is. I think this is a representation of my relationship to him, as in my sort of feelings towards him, because I stated that I was concerned about what he would think of me. So, you know, that makes sense. I like that. New routes discovered. To Venice. But no, screw Venice. It doesn't go for a while, I don't think. Pick up tartan blankets to sell in Budapest. We're not doing that. We are going to explore briefly. No, market. That's what we want to do. Okay. Leather braces. Wait a moment. We can have 3 cases, and we have 2. So, we've got loads of room to pack more bags. So the leather braces, valuable in Thessaloniki, Sofia, and Izmir. They're only £3. God, of course I'll have them. Brazilian snuff, of interest to luxurious and prim types. So the snuff, that's interesting. It's not something that we actually consume, that we sell on. I mean, we could do. But I think our main use for it is actually to extend conversations with people about routes and things while we're travelling. I've never been partial to snuff myself, but I know the gentlemen are crazy for it. Yes, they are. Have we got time to explore? When do you depart? Oh, it departs at 4 PM. Okay, we've got loads of time. Let's explore. Let us explore. I took a few hours to explore, investigating the various options for how we might continue our journey. Well, I know where we're going. Can you manage another case? You can manage another case, can't you, Passepartout? Yes, I can, of course. I think it's time for us to depart, though. Let us move on to Rome. Better go to Rome. There's airships there. I want to travel in an airship! Yay! Have I got anything in our baggage to improve our airship? The air traveller. I've got half the air traveller set. That's great. I don't know what the other part is. We don't have it. Maybe we can pick it up in Rome if we're very lucky. Let us go. So, because we have the travelling cloak from our Gentleman Traveller set, we get +10 to our health, which offsets the -11 from the mild seas. This promises to be a bothersome route, but the travelling cloak from our Gentleman Traveller set should see us to rights. Yes, indeed. Departing in half an hour. I think it's that time, folks. See you next time, folks. Bye!